everybody? Welcome to Capital of Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's HBO World Championship Boxing, which featured in the main event Sergey Kovalev defending his multiple light heavyweight titles against Kovalev-Mohamedi. And also on the undercard, we had Jean Pascal versus Yuneski Gonzalez. We're going to start with that one because that, of course, was the undercard fight. Now, if you watched our preview video,
which we hope you did,
we pretty much predicted that this would be based on the competition level of Gonzalez and some of the technical flaws that he made, a pretty easy win for Pascal. Now, at the end of that video, when we were talking about Kovalev and Mohamedi, we said, hey, they still have to get in there and fight the fights. They got in there and fight the fights. And what happened was we got a very competitive, high-spirited, great fight between two light heavyweights who did not want to give an inch to their opponent. And in my opinion, a very close fight. It went to Pascal. HBO didn't agree. Judges felt it did go that way, but they had it very close. I didn't actually kind of score it as a who won, but both guys had very good moments throughout the fight, and I'll get into that later. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, the fight was scored 96-94 on all three cards as a unanimous decision. I mean, it's about as close as you were going to get in this kind of fight for either fighter. I said that, look, even though it's almost no competition level for Gonzalez, for the guys he has fought, we looked at some of his flaws, but always said, this isn't the first time that a Cuban fighter, especially one who has a glossy record but kind of still an unknown, has come in and just looked great in a fight against a top name fighter. Same with any other fighters that we've talked about. They still have to fight the fight. So this guy came in extremely determined. He was on HBO versus a big name opponent, and the guy coming off a loss, and it was like, maybe you could take advantage of it. Yeah. Pascal came in. I don't think he was trained by Roy Jones in this fight.
No, because Roy Jones is training for his own fight.
So, to me, it actually showed. I don't think he quite had the confidence in there with the trainer that he had, whose name escapes me at the moment.
But he is a very good trainer.
He is a good trainer, but I think he has developed that trust with Roy Jones and used to him being in this corner. So he kind of went out there, and it was almost immediately apparent that Gonzalez's work rate was going to cause trouble for Pascal, because he was not at all afraid to let his hands go. The only problem is I'm surprised that he made it all 10 rounds, because he was throwing haymakers left and right.
Yeah, and we did say on the preview video he threw a bit wide and he loaded up with every shot. Now, and to be that big of a guy, his condition, like, he did fade, but to be that heavily muscled, to be throwing that hard and still be trying to go for the knockout in the 10th round, you got to commend him for that.
Yeah, and he did do very well at establishing the jab.
Yes, his jab was very strong, and when it landed, it knocked Pascal out of position like a good jab should do. Right,
but Pascal was, I think when he landed, when they were actually in exchanges, I think Pascal landed the better, harder shots. And that was mostly on the inside. But he had trouble because whenever he got on the inside, he would really just throw one or two punches and tie up around the waist.
Yeah, that brings me to the point I was gonna do before you started, were the technical flaws that he made, and then the technical things that they both did correctly, which made it a very exciting fight. First off, there was two things that Pascal did, one of which we said that we thought Gonzalez would do, and that was leaning off to his right. When he does that, he pretty much gave a path for Gonzalez's right hand, which he landed at will several times. Hard right hands. The second thing was he backed straight up. There was several times where he just backed straight up to the ropes, ran out of room, and because Gonzalez was throwing, he hit him. Now, credit to Pascal for taking those shots because those were very hard shots, and credit to Gonzalez for doing the next point that I was going to make, throwing in combination.
That's right.
Both guys threw in combination, and when you throw in combination, something's going to land. And with these guys, that something was very hard. Credit to both guys for having iron chins. The other thing is punching with your opponent. Both guys punched with their opponent, which led to openings in the other person's defense, which led to some great exchanges, some hard punches, and we saw both guys get tested on a high level, and they both passed. Commend both of them for that. Both guys showed some great power, showed some great recuperative power because they were both hurt several times.
That's right.
Neither guy went down, and there was one point where Pascal was hit and then he ducked to try to catch the try to dodge the second and third shot that Gonzalez threw, and it looked like he kind of buckled.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see it, it was more of him like saying, hey, you got that one shot, but you won't get two or three. Same thing with Gonzalez. He was hit several times, and he was able to make the adjustments necessary to not get stopped. Especially late in the fight when Pascal started landing a lot more, a lot cleaner, and beating Gonzalez to the punch.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things he did when they punched with each other. Because Gonzalez's punches were a lot wider, Pascal's got in quicker, and I think the judges saw that. But I think over the course of the fight, I think Gonzalez landed the harder punches. He had a much higher work rate, and that's what led to such a close fight. You got anything before we move on?
Nah, that covered it all.
All right. So Pascal is saying he wants a interim fight before he fights Kovalev again. We'll see what happens with that. Now to the main event. Now the main event, we had Kovalev-Mohamedi, I think the IBF mandatory for Kovalev. He holds all the belts except for the WBC, which is Adonis Stevenson.
That's
belongs
right.
to Adonis Stevenson, who's also the lineal champ of the division.
It's what is it? WBA, IBF, and IBO. No, or WBO. Because BHBF holds one as well, doesn't he?
No, I think he has like a little minor title.
Or no, it's Abraham that holds one.
He's at 168.
All right, that's right. We're talking 175.
Yeah.
I gotta get them confused, man. It's such deep divisions.
Right. We'll talk about BDBF in a second. Right now, Mohamedi pretty much came in how we said he would. Lots of head movement. He gave Kovalev a lot of trouble with that head movement as well. But his stance that we talked about in the preview video left a lot of openings for Kovalev, especially to the body, which Kovalev almost couldn't miss. Anytime he jabbed to the body or threw a straight right to the body, it landed cleanly and easily, and it was able to be seen by the judges and felt by Mohamedi. What you got?
Well, even with that, Mohamedi did a good job kind of just staying moving, staying on the move, not staying in one place, not just coming forward. But I think the height and reach advantage that Kovalev had over Mohamedi was a huge issue because Kovalev was able to keep Mohamedi at the end of his punches. I mean, every time that Mohamedi came in, he would either be caught reaching, and not only being able to caught at the end of the punches, but Kovalev had great footwork, staying out of trouble, getting in and out, and just making each punch count. He knocked him down in the second round with several shots, but I think that was started with a counter right hand over Mohamedi's jab.
Right. And that was an adjustment that Kovalev actually made. In the beginning of the fight, he was going forward trying to chase Mohamedi down, and he was having lots of trouble hitting him to the head.
Mm-hmm.
What he started to do was wait till Mohamedi came in because he was a shorter fighter and caught him coming in. I think it's time that we start giving Sergey Kovalev credit for his boxing IQ. Everyone likes to talk about his knockout power, which he has, but we have to start thinking of this guy as a smart fighter. He beat one of the legends, one of the best cerebral fighters in Bernard Hopkins, and in order to do that, you got to outthink him.
That's right.
He's made adjustments in the Pascal and in this fight to come out with the victory. We got to give this guy credit for being a smart fighter. They don't do that a lot, especially with like the power punches. But we got to give him credit for having a high boxing IQ. Do you have anything before we talk about what's next?
Mohamedi was saying that he got thumbed in the eye after that 2-1 combination. We looked at it, he just got hit in the eye.
Yeah,
hard.
He may have had a break or a crack, maybe like a small fracture or something. But it was a very hard shot, and it was actually another jab.
Yeah,
So with a straight right hand and a jab, and that was it.
So now,
Second knockout with a jab for Kovalev.
oh yeah, I mean it's all his straight punches are just insanely hard.
Yeah.
Now, Kovalev, there's talks about him possibly fighting Andre Ward in 2016, fighting Birziev on his next scheduled date, which I believe is in November,
Yes.
and possibly the Pascal rematch. But if Pascal wants to take an interim fight, then we may not see that until next year as well. So there are fights out there. We're still waiting to see if he will fight Adonis Stevenson. Birziev would be a good fight, but I think Birziev is still a little too green, even though he's had a great amateur background, and Ward is pretty much one test that we want to see for both guys.
Yeah.
So hopefully something significant can get made for the future for Kovalev.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you hit us up on our Facebook page, Capital Combat, Google Plus, same name. We're now on Instagram. You can follow us on there, Capital Combat. Hit us up on our email, capitalcombat@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.